Thanks for joining us today on the Daily Edition. A new Markle debacle. Why another member of Meghan's family is making headlines and the palace is not amused.
Plus, shock split, sad news for radio star Jackie O.
Then the Great Winks debate. The Champions owner weighs in on claims the mare is not as mighty as she seems.
And a broken neck couldn't stand in the way of his dreams. Meet the man who overcame horrific injury to set a mountain climbing world record. But first, the latest from the 7 Newsroom, and the federal government will spend up big in an effort to help farmers fight the impact of future droughts. The $5 billion package is called the Future Drought Fund. The government will invest the money and from the earnings will offer grants of up to $100 billion a year.
It really is about putting money away for a non-rainy day.
2020 does seem to be a bit far off when our farmers are struggling now.
It's never too late, and this is a significant step forward.
There are concerns the money would only be available in the future and not right now. There are new fears following the discovery of more pipe bomb packages addressed to prominent Democrats and critics of President Trump. Former Vice President Joe Biden and actor Robert De Niro are the latest involved. We're also learning more about the makeup of the potentially explosive devices as the search for those responsible heats up. US correspondent Paul Gadak has the latest from New York.
Well, authorities got the call very early in the morning here to the building that houses Robert De Niro's production company after a former police officer who screens his mail realised that a package addressed to the actor was the same as those that were sent to the Obamas, the Clintons and also to CNN's New York offices. The bomb squad carefully removed that suspected pipe bomb device. It is being taken to the laboratories of the FBI for further testing. A spokesperson for Robert De Niro, who is known as a vocal critic of President Trump, called this situation extremely disturbing and extremely frightening. Within hours, 2 postal centres in the US state of Delaware also had bomb squad in attendance after devices were found addressed to Barack Obama's Vice President Joe Biden. Now, that makes 10 of these devices that have been found so far. The question for the experts as they go to test them to find out how they were put together, where they may have come from, is that how much of a threat were they? They are crudely built, they have bomb components, but were they designed to assassinate or to just intimidate? That's a question for authorities. They addressed the media today, not revealing too much information for fear of jeopardising their investigation and the hunt for the perpetrators. They did confirm that a powder found with some of those devices here in New York was not a biological threat. But that's all they pretty much revealed, apart from saying that this may not be over.
We continue to advise the American public to remain vigilant, as it does remain possible further packages have been or could be mailed.
I can say with certainty that we will identify and arrest a person or people responsible for these acts.
Authorities are reportedly focusing on South Florida as a place where these devices may have originated. Given the targets addressed by these devices are all critics of President Trump, there have been calls for the level of vitriol, of hatred really in American political debate to be toned down, while President Donald Trump himself has gone on Twitter saying that the media is in part to blame, a big part, he says, of the anger seen in society, saying that it's gotten so bad and hateful that it's beyond description, and it's the mainstream media that must clean up its act. That debate set to continue, as does the investigation into who was behind these suspected pipe bombs.
Thanks, Paul Kadak there in the US. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are on their way back to Australia following a packed 24 hours of events in Tonga. That included a trip to the region's oldest secondary school to dedicate 2 forest reserves to the Queen's Commonwealth Canopy project. They also visited a local exhibition where Meghan stunned crowds in a white and green striped dress designed by an Australian, Martin Grant. A damning new report warns millions of Australians living on the outskirts of major cities are being failed by all levels of government when it comes to access to public transport. Infrastructure Australia has slammed Melbourne's transport system, with commuters on the city's fringe forced to travel more than 80 minutes to work. The authority is calling on state governments to create new models of getting residents to major transport hubs, such as train stations. French Spider-Man Alain Robert has climbed one of the London's tallest buildings without ropes. The 56-year-old took an hour to make his way up the 229-metre Heron Tower. Police kept crowds back as he climbed, using only chalk to reach the top. Officers were waiting for him at the end, where he was arrested for being a public nuisance with only chalk on his hands. Wow, right?
It might be a public nuisance, but good pictures. That's
Yeah.
incredible. That's incredible.
Very
wow.
brave man.
Isn't he? All right, still to come this afternoon, the classic 90s flick that's about to get a reboot. Plus, missed out on your invite to the wedding of the year? How you can get up close and personal with the Duchess of Sussex's bridal gown.
But next, Geoffrey Rush's defamation trial against the Daily Telegraph heats up. Which big star will be taking to the stand? We'll find out next.